free speech. What does that term mean to you when you hear it? Does it mean that no one can keep you from speaking your mind and exercising your free autonomy of ideas in the marketplace? Ultimately, I think that is the plain explanation that all of us took for granted. Taking freedoms for granted, by the way, is the surest way to lose them. To think that because we once had free speech and that it is established in the First Amendment means it is sacrosanct is exactly why it isn't there anymore existentially. If it's not protected and enforced against those that would forbid it, then for all intents and purposes, the phrase is meaningless. When I began to warn Americans about political correctness 20 years ago, it was exactly for the fact that if we were not vigilant and proactive in destroying political correctness influence, then we would definitely suffer its consequences. Well, my friends, we are here. Remember that political correctness is cultural Marxism and thus behaves as such. As in all communist socialist regimes, it censors speech. It doesn't approve of, but hides it under the virtue signaling smokescreen of being sensitive to the marginalized. It speaks of tolerance and then glibly marginalizes and censors those they deem intolerant. Tolerance has no meaning unless it tolerates what it hates. Why? Simple. Ask yourself this question. In your entire life, how many times did you have to tolerate something you liked or believed in? If the answer is never, then tolerance was only for ideas you hate. That is literally what tolerance means by definition. Merriam-Webster, who always felt it best to keep her opinions and definitions in book form rather than speak them out loud, defined tolerance this way. Tolerance: capacity to endure pain or hardship. Endurance, fortitude, stamina. Notice you're expected to endure what you disagree with. You are to resolve to establish fortitude towards antithetical ideas so as to further the greater good of a society that needs all thought available and dispersed so as to best compare and evaluate ideas that are superior to others, and some are. Notice by implication, the original definition of tolerance implied that some ideas were better than others, or there would be, well, never any ideas to tolerate. Yet, now the leftist definition of tolerance has morphed into the great irony that tolerance means exactly the opposite of the original meaning. To be truly tolerant, you must not tolerate hate speech, which again, ironically, is speech the left hates. Yet the second definition of tolerance is sympathy or indulgence for beliefs or practices differing from or conflicting with one's own. And maybe most poignant of all, the third definition of tolerance is simply the act of allowing something. Because the left has made it their mission to censor and vilify those with conservative opinions, they've placed conservative opinions in a moral category by claiming they are immoral. Notice the terms trotted out by the left whenever they steal your liberties. We must stop hate speech. Well, who defines hate speech? They do. We must be tolerant of people different than us. What does tolerate mean to them? We must accept, agree with, and support views we vehemently disagree with. What is the punishment for those of us who will not submit to the destruction of our liberties? Well, we'll lose our jobs, reputations, ability to provide for our families, ability to communicate and speak freely. We will be vilified and ostracized from society and made to be seen as pariahs who are immoral and evil. So the left, which has eliminated God as a reality and as a necessary need in a free society to establish natural rights and restrain power, loving mankind, have become God themselves. When you condemn some ideas and thoughts as immoral, you are entering the domain of metaphysics. You are creating a moral perimeter that, if you were to wander off, makes you an escaped convict, absent without leave, and a danger to the rest of us that want to control you. So, let me make this clear. The reason you cannot reason with the left is because they don't view their point of view as subjective preferences. They deem it as sacrosanct and holy.